Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're diving into Treasure Map versus the lead performers, King, Jack, and Queen, and doing a bit of a breakdown on each particular stage, and giving you guys some team ideas to take down this event without using any new batch characters. I have included the Gear 5 batch, though, because I do think if you are summoning on this celebration, Gear 5... that banner should be your priority, just like the Uta celebration with Film Red, just like Anniversary where Luffy Yamato was the most valuable. Summoning on that first part of the banner is definitely the way to go. Now, to get this Luffy 6+ as well, we will be able to see Gear 5 6+ before the end of Treasure Map, but just note, if you do 6+ him, he will not become a trusty Treasure Map character. It says it right there on the screen, 6+ will not be a trusty character. He should drop right after the episode, which is like the last day of Treasure Map anyway, but just be mindful of that. We have the bonus steps and all that sort of stuff. So like I said, these teams aren't going to use Kid Law, Beppo, Killer, Big Mom. They're not going to use those types of characters, and I have restricted it to basically where I've been telling you guys to summon and picking up characters there. So let's take a look at the fights quickly, starting off with the page 1 fight. Now, there are a lot of int bosses here, and make sure to check out a lot of other content creators too, by the way. If you guys, these teams don't help you out, like, make sure to go check out some of the smaller guys like Omi, what's his name, Musashi, Captain Musashi, and then obviously you got Todd and Jowsy putting out their stuff too. So hopefully you guys can find something that works, but hopefully these teams help you out, because they're going to be fast, and they're going to be point boosted units. So, like I said, page 1, Yamato and Otama are the recommended characters. Stage 1, everyone gets the good stuff. There's 6 turns of despair, which will go down to 3, 2 turns of hunger, 5 turns of special blind and paralysis, and there's 6 turns of resilience. So as you can see, they want you to use the Otama for paralysis and special blind. They also want you to use the Yamato for the despair, hunger, and resilience. However, I am not utilizing the Yamato because she's a 1.4 times booster. We want her on the final team. So to get around the despair, we are using Luffy as our captain. Ideally with Luffy, you want to have him Limit Break expanded, so that way he removes despair in his captain ability. He also removes paralysis, which is great. And then you can use the Otama for special blind. You can use the Hiyori here. You can use anyone that removes special blind. That's definitely going to work over Otama if you want to bring Otama on the other teams. But at full HP, Otama's a color affinity booster, so that's going to work nicely too, as well as removing the special blind. To get around the resilience, I have the Hawkins. Hawkins is going to do end of turn damage and apply additional damage taken. Base stats with Jinbei, and then there is a conditional there with Usopp. However, Usopp is literally just like he's just a higher booster. I did put the Treasure Map Sanji as a support on Luffy to sort of show you guys that you can just bring Sanji as an orb booster if you wanted to do that instead. So pretty straightforward fight. Should basically work nicely as you can wave clear with double Luffy, utilizing his super type every turn. You just need to have a unit that triggers that, and Jinbei was the big one for this particular team to actually get that done. Next, we have the Black Maria and Ulti fight. Against Black Maria and Ulti, the Sai Straw Hats are boosted, so they want you to use Luffy here, but I'm using Luffy on the first fight. If you have Nami level Limit Break 5 through PK, you can use her. And then the Free Play Robin that you can farm up over on Extra Island. Sai, Quick, and Strength characters get all the good stuff. 10 turns of Despair, which goes down to 7 after sockets. 1 turn of Special Reverse on your crewmates. Block Orbs. 5 turns of Attack Down. And 5 turns of Left Column Bind after sockets. And then there's Delay Immunity too. So the team I put together looks like this. To get around the Special Reverse, I am using the Denjiro. Utilizing the Denjiro gives you 2 turns of cooldowns. Plus, he is a conditional booster against defense down, which you can then get a bigger conditional boost for when you use Robin. If you have Robin at level Limit Break 5, she gives you a condition against defense down, and also reduces the defense. Plus, there's only immunity to delay, so you actually can get the advantage of this. Brook is our double wave clearer. Sanji's going to be our orb booster. He procs that on turn 1, and then utilizing Luffy and Ace, you can get a bind removal as well as an attack boost, because we already have an orb boost. But if you're running double Sanji, you're going to have an attack boost and an orb boost anyway. But if you really want to, you could do something like this, and you could actually get more damage if you want to, and then just use Sanji as your orb booster. But Sanji, he's just a bigger point booster, like I said, and if you're not using him here, using him on the other team, then you can like easily get some stuff done there. But look, the whole idea here is just to basically have a bunch of Sai units, and then you can easily kill that way. You could replace Sanji here with another color affinity booster if you really want to, and that way you just get more damage output. You could just use like the free-to-play Frankie. Definitely another option here. This particular Frankie here for Sai color affinity boosting. and then you just use double Luffy and Ace. Luffy and Ace do have special reverse in their captain ability. However, the downside to that is they don't get it to proc from what the wording looks like. Because it says despair before special reverse, I don't think it'll proc. However, it might. You can use their switch ability too to remove the despair. So that's another option for you guys too. But remember, you do have to get rid of the bind. You have to get rid of the attack down. So utilizing Robin is basically like a have to anyway. Dendro also removes despair, but you can use like the Rayleigh support for more despair, as you guys can see that I've done here. So this thing should work nicely. You get a conditional with Luffy and Ace 2 if you have the level limit break 5. So very nice stuff there. Moving on to the next fight now against Sasaki, and this one was actually very annoying, honestly. Huge shout out to my homie Twonce. Tony, you guys know him, you guys love him. For the help with this team build, because I'm using Jumanji on my final boss fight. The Frankie's the other recommended character. Free Spirits, Powerhouse, and Fighter characters get their cooldowns and all the good stuff. Plus, on then Battle 3, you get 2 turns of Special Reverse, 7 turns of Paralysis. Your top row gets Special 1 for 7 turns. And you get an attack down if your chain is below 2.5 or above 4. Very annoying. And then there's 6 turns of Defense up, plus there is a slot barrier for 1 Tandem Orb. So, super annoying stuff there. So they want you to use Jumanji to get that Tandem Orb. However, what I'm looking at doing here is something a little bit different. To remove the paralysis, we're using double Izo Kiku. And then, unfortunately, with this team, we are just going to have to tap through the first stage. That's fine, because then we can use Izo Kiku to wave clear stage 2. Izo Kiku are going to put us... They're going to give us a chain lock, which is great. And then when we use Frankie, Frankie's going to actually increase that. So you're not going above 4. So you love to see that. Carrot Wanda are your attack boost and your orb boost. Sanji is going to remove the barriers. And then Komurasaki is just here to look nice. Literally the only reason. But she has type advantage, so she works out quite nicely. You can use a support on her to get color affinity for slashes, like the Zoro support, anything like that. Odin, I believe, will work actually up on... what's it called? Yeah, this Odin for like 1.5 times color affinity. You can use the VV support for crying out loud, but you are going to be fine here. With some pretty nice stuff. So shout out to Tony once again for that, because I did want to use Jumanji later on for you guys. Moving on to... Oh, I keep hitting that view button. Moving on to the Who's Who fight. This is the first team that doesn't use a boosted unit, but that's because like there's no other really good wave clearing options. But you definitely can just chuck a different wave clear over Daifuku if you want to, or if you don't want to, you could do that as well. We have Big Mom and Akainu as the recommended characters. Cerebrals, Driven, and Powerhouse characters get all the good stuff. You get 3 turns of additional damage taken, a full board of quick slots, 2 turns of utilizing only 2 specials only, 6 turns of burn, normal attacks only, full immunity, and then there's a 1 Wano slot barrier for 1 turn with 5 turns of resilience. If you use a slot change, you get slot binded, as well as the enemy puts up 90% damage reduction. So you definitely don't want to be changing those slots. The teams I put together looks a little bit like this. Couple of different options that you guys can do here. I'm using Robin and Koala to remove the barrier. Robin and Koala can just remove 3 turns of barriers. They're your color affinity booster, they're your orb booster, and it works out quite nicely if you have the support of Luffy to give adjacent orbs matching, so that way Akainu gets an orb as well. Black Marine Ulti, they're our attack booster. You don't have to bring them. They were just another option that I decided to throw on because of their limit break ability, where they can actually remove this damage, the special limit. However, this Akainu, if you have him limit break expanded, he can actually do that as well. So that works out quite nicely. Akainu removes the burn. Moria removes the resilience. He gives you a chain boost. He gives you base stats, I believe, too, for Driven and Powerhouse. So that way your Black Maria and your Akainu are hitting fairly hard. You can bring a friend Big Mom with this team as well. Like, definitely can. But I understand, like, trying to find Big Mom friend captains can be annoying for some, but potato, it'll work with or without a friend captain Big Mom. As for the rest of these teams too, by the way, they're all designed to be used with any friend captain you guys like. So if you could find, like, say, like a Momo friend captain, feel free to use a Momo friend captain here. If you found a Momo friend captain, use the Momo friend captain here. Izo Kiku, I would recommend using another Izo Kiku just because, like, this team is very janky, but you could use, like, any other unit as captain. And then for this particular team here, Big Mom is, like, ideally going to be the next one to use. Next, we have the final boss and the intrusion. Now, I haven't had enough time to build some intrusion boss teams for you guys, so I will actually put these teams to the test, so the next team that you see, in a separate video, so make sure to check that out. But against the final boss, against the lead performers, they are a Psy boss, which is so odd because 2 of the treasure map units are Psy. But hey, the recommended characters are Killer with the treasure map characters and Kid and Law. Int, Dex, and Psy get all the good stuff. on stage 2, there's remove sound effects, 7 turns of burn, 7 turns of resilience, and a 3-turn tap timing barrier for 2 perfects. Once you defeat the league performers, they get full HP recovery and run away. And then on stage 3, you have to deal with block slots, 7 turns of special bind on your top row, 6 turns of paralysis, normal attacks only, 3 turns of an attack down if your chain is below 3.5, 7 turns of defense up, as well as delay immunity, full immunity, and reduced damage taken by 90%. If you use a slot boost, the bottom row gets stunned, and you get top row of super block slots. So, as you can see, there's a lot going on here, but the team I built, like I said, you can use anyone as your friend captain. If you can find Kid Law, I would bring Kid Law, like Kid and Law. But if you find a Zoro for some more points, you could definitely bring Zoro too. The team's led by Gear 5, and it has enough units to actually activate his Super EX. And then on stage 2, we want to use the Zoro special, the Yamato special, the Gear 5 special, and the Super EX. So that way we're actually doing a butt ton of damage here. Now the idea here, right, on stage 2 is to have an orb boost, to have Yamato's resistance, the Super EX, and the... yeah, that's it. And the color affinity from Gear 5, plus the orb boost from Zoro. So make sure he's leveled in rank 5. And the idea here is to do enough damage to kill stage 2 without having to hit any perfects. Remember, as Gear 5, you go through barriers, so you don't have to worry about the barrier. And the idea is to not hit perfects so you don't take the burn damage. We don't want to take the burn damage, so be very careful with that remove sound effects. Or special effects. So that way you don't hit any perfects. Don't use the whale shark ship if you don't want to. Like that's going to be absolutely fine. And then on stage 3, to deal with the special binds and the paralysis, we have Jumanji to remove the paralysis. Plus they're going to be our orb booster with their super swap. We have the Anaru support for for color affinity. And then we're using the Baby Chopper special to give ourselves a chain boost. If you swap with Jumanji, you get the chain multiplicative effect as well. Plus, you get an attack boost to Powerhouse and Fighters. With this team, if you say you brought another friend captain Gear 5, you have 4 fighters on this team. So you can then tap with Zoro, Baby Chopper, and then into your fighters, because you have to be above 3.5 times anyway in terms of your chain. So like those first 2 hitters aren't going to matter either. But you need to be at full HP for this to work, otherwise it won't. Chopper is going to remove some paralysis as well, which is very, very nice. But he also removes defense up and gives you some cooldowns. He has hunger too, which is whatever, but utilizing his special is going to get you above that 3.5 times chain, with the chain multiplicative that Jumanji the King give as well. So it's going to be tight, to be honest, his damage, but the idea here is to just get to the 3.5 and then use the rush of Luffy. Like, once you start rushing with Luffy, you are going to be absolutely fine. But the damage here could be a little bit tight. Now, if you can find Kid Law as a friend captain, you're Gucci. Like, you can just bring Kid Law and then just like replace Jumanji or replace it's called the Chopper and the Baby Chopper unit with anyone that gives you like a monster chain boost. Like that's also something you guys could do, because Kid Law are going to set defense to 0. So then that way you don't have to worry about it through full immunity. But this team should work quite nicely. Moving on to the Intrusion team now. The Intrusion team was actually a little bit easier. And look, I might have missed some stuff, but it did seem to be a lot easier from what I saw. Now, they want to use Beppo instead of Killer with Kid Law and the same treasure map batch. Powerhouse, Slashes, and Free Spirit characters get all the good stuff. On stage 2, there's a 2-hit barrier for 25 hits, full body block slots, normal attacks only, full immunity, 5 turns of defense up, 3 turns of resilience, damage over a certain amount for 99% for 6 turns, and then locks the target. Now, I imagine that the lock target is like a Big Mom or whatever, and then when she dies, she gives you burn. Now, I have heard that there are 2 lackeys that blow away your bottom rush. So you need to get rid of them, basically. Otherwise, you're in for a really, really bad time. And this team might not work because of that, but hey, we'll definitely give it a crack. On stage 3, the special reverse is 2 turns. There's 9 turns of bind on your top and middle row. You get block or paralysis slots. Normal attacks only, full immunity, 6 turns of defense up, and 2 turns of a slot barrier of tandem orbs. If you use a slot boost, you get burn, and the enemy puts up 3 turns of resilience, which can be very, very annoying. So the team looks a little bit like this. We are going to be using Zoro special on turn 2 once again, and then utilizing the Yamato special on turn 2. That way we can get around the orb, like the not being able to use an orb boost, and the resilience. Then activating the Gear 5 special means that we're going to get through the threshold, and Zoro can remove the defense up. Once we have done that, we should be absolutely fine to sort of take down this fight. But then when we move into the final stage, we are going to need to remove some more defense up. So that's why the Frankie's here. He can do that. And then getting around the paralysis slots, we can use the Jumanji. And Gear 5 gets around the special reverse and the bind. So hopefully this team works. I imagine it will. But it just depends on how much damage we have on stage 2 to actually make sure that we can get the kill. Now, if I have to use the Gear 5 special to like help me get the kill, I will. Remember, if you're bringing a friend captain Gear 5, you're going to have a second Gear 5 special anyway. So that's going to be awesome. The Brûlé support's going to give us get around the block orbs, which is always fun. But you don't really need that Gear 5 special for the final stage. The color affinity is going to be nice, don't get me wrong, but you could definitely use the Enel support on what's it called? On Zoro. But this team should work. Like I said, I'm definitely going to test it and see what happens for the intrusion with a bunch of friend captains. But if you can find Kid Law as your friend captain, just use the Kid Law special on turn 2, and that is definitely going to kill the 2 lackeys, and then just rely on the attack boost that Jumanji is giving anyway. Remember, with the Rush, like the Rush is going to do so much damage. That's going to be the ultimate play there. But if you guys don't want to use this Frankie, you could definitely use the free-to-play Frankie, the one that gives the color affinity. If you have him at level limit break 5, he's going to be another color affinity option. He's a little bit less points, but he's definitely another option for you, this one right here. And then you can use like something like the Brooks support on Sanji, or the Konus support for when you tap with Sanji. But you do have some options there. But hopefully these teams help you guys out. If they did, make sure to go down there, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff for me. Most importantly, whether you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.